roadmap of a center of excellence?
I especially want to again thank on my behalf Professor Pankaj Chandra, who was so busy, and he just came back from a jet lag, and I think he still has it. So we will excuse him if he sort of drops off in between these lengthy, long, boring lectures. I don't know whether I can deliver a roadmap. I'll only talk about what a center of excellence is and what it is supposed to do. In fact, for me, a term like center of excellence is like the democratic republic, which was used by many countries which are neither democratic nor republics. That was used essentially to emphasize that we are neither, but we want to be both. And you see, India is simply Republic of India. You know what the other democratic republics are. They are slowly vanishing one by one because they were neither of them. Now, the center of excellence is a similar word because if you have a center, better be excellent. Otherwise, why does it exist? Why do you call it I say center of excellence at all? Now, the word was coined probably by colonial forefathers of this country, and then somehow it is sort of taken off. And sometimes, believe me, that if you say that you belong to a center of excellence, it is a slight matter of not so comfortable things. I mean, you belong to a good place, and center of excellence means you are trying to carve out something which is not so excellent. So, first of all, I want to therefore say that wherever there is a center of excellence, or wherever there is a center, it better be excellent. And therefore, this terminology called center of excellence we apply only for a matter of convenience, so that a certain amount of funding can be given, a certain amount of a kind of a very focused attention be drawn to an area, and then it be evaluated properly and the fruits of sustained investment be found. Other than that, any center anywhere should be a center of excellence. So I hope you all agree with me. Now, having said that, there are a few things that a center of excellence is supposed to do. Number one, it is an entity that has to provide ultimately leadership in this area. Now, Kavi has started, well, I have all the time called him Kavi, so I'm not going to start calling him Professor Mahesh. So Kavi has told us what he's going to do in this one. So the focus area is going to be knowledge analytics, knowledge engineering, ontological engineering, and who knows, you may include epistemology and many other things which are actually a sort of related part of this research. Phenomenology maybe. So one day, if you have Jean-Paul Sartre's picture in your center, I would be very happy. So there would be a focus area, and this focus area would be actually defined as whatever it is, which has been done now. Then, and you're supposed to provide leadership in this, in the sense that ultimately it's a repository of all kinds of things around this area, and anybody who wants to know anything about ontology should be able to refer to you. And if there is a big dispute going on what ontology means, probably you will have the final word to say. So that is what a center of excellence is supposed to be. The second thing that you will have to evangelize, sorry for the word, it has all kinds of connotations, but I don't know the equivalent. Professor Ramanujan should tell me if there is a Sanskrit word for this evangelization. I don't know whether it's called Gitalization or whatever, equivalent to that. Now, what we mean by that is this subject matter as a serious pursuit should be made as a focus area in a center of excellence. Why do we want to do this? There are so many other areas, so many other interesting areas, including ways of bowling a particular over. These days to make money. So why should I pursue this? Why can't I just go and bowl an over which gives me 60 lakhs back? That would be a nice, so you will have to convince people that it is better to do knowledge engineering than to bowl that particular over. So now that is evangelization. You will have to do something about evangelization. Then the third thing is that there will be a lot of best practices in this area, then research, support, training, etc. I'm happy that you have already a big timetable for training. Now, there is a word of caution that we always have to see when we talk about evangelization and training. You see that nowadays it is very common to say that I'm giving you ornithology for a common man, or music for a common man. Poor common man has so many areas, he doesn't know what to choose finally from. So evangelization doesn't mean bringing ontology to common man. No, that's not the issue. The thing is, in the area of ontology, if somebody wants to learn, this is the center where we have to come to for training, and this is a center which actually promotes ontology in the area where it is of importance. Like Professor Chandra mentioned, many very interesting areas. I was amazed at some of the things that you mentioned, like collecting information from those tens of million people who came to Kumbh Mela. My goodness, it was something which has been thought of. It was so simple to do it in a way. People book tickets, people go there by train, people go do a lot of things. So it could have been a very big way of doing it. So a center like this would focus on collecting information, analyzing it, and in areas which are of importance. So provide leadership, support, and training in these areas. So these are the broad themes of a given center of excellence, whatever it be, whether it is nanotechnology or whether it is knowledge engineering. So you would have a focus area and the things that I said. Then apart from that, it should have a fantastic team. And normally from what I have seen, in most of the centers of excellence, you have a team which is shared. And in this context, what Professor Chandra mentioned and also Kavi was saying all the time, that you are a multidisciplinary team is very important. Normally centers of excellence, to come out on one single, very sharp, focused vertical area is neither very interesting nor very useful. You will not find many people who are proving Fermat's last theorem. There was one Andrew guy, and then his lecture was applicable only to 10 people. So the Center for Excellence for that kind of a mathematics would probably not make much sense. A Center of Excellence makes sense only when you have a lot of different disciplines coming together to solve a given problem. So to that extent, a team which is sort of shared between different disciplines from different areas, like computer science, linguistics, I would say from day one, and then social sciences, particularly social. I don't know whether there is a very fascinating lecture by a professor from Germany who is talking about empowering people, and he's essentially doing the kind of thing that this center is expected to do. He takes actually arguments which people use and then analyze it in very systematic manner, and then start looking at what are the arguments, and are these arguments logically leading to what you think is the final conclusion that you draw. Then, for instance, many things were promised even with the new government, isn't it? When we do this, we bring down the prices, we do this. I mean, there is a certain argument behind it, there is a certain cost. Will these arguments lead to this? If it doesn't, what are we talking about? So this kind of analysis is not easy to combine. And therefore, a shared faculty who have knowledge in very many different areas like linguistics, then social engineering, social sciences, and of course computer science, mathematics would be extremely important. So ultimately, therefore, this COE will have to deliver a multidisciplinary team. And multidiscipline also normally means a multicultural team. It is not, they are not synonymous, but I think it is sort of intended. That is, the culture of sociologists are a bit different from those of computer scientists. So when you deliver a multidisciplinary center, you are also delivering a multicultural center. And this is a very important part. And this multiculture comes not only from the faculty, but also from students, visitors, lectures that you arrange, and the courses that you arrange, and so on. Obviously, the bottom lines are, it has to be well gowned. There is no point in having a bad governance in a given center. That is taken in a center of excellence is supposed to have this. And then one very important thing I hope will become a part of the center is it has to be self-evaluated. While there are evaluators from TechUp and others who come and evaluate, I think it's much more important that we evaluate the center ourselves and say what were the goals, what did we do, is this the right way to do it, or was there another way? And occasionally, or who knows, even frequently admit that we made serious mistakes, and then we are going to take a different route. There is nothing wrong in it. As long as we actually do the work and then evaluate, and evaluate honestly, and then take a call, and then only the center actually progresses very well. So I suppose the Center of Excellence will also have a very strong framework of self-evaluation, which means your own appraisals from your colleagues, from the institution, from outside agencies, and so on, and to maintain the highest standards. So these are some very important things. So these are all the things that a Center of Excellence is supposed to do. These are some random thoughts that I put together from what I have observed in various centers of excellence. One point I want to just reiterate what Professor Pankaj Chandra mentioned. An institution like this has a large number of undergraduate students, and they must be a part of a center like this for their work, for the work. Now, our attempt to bring undergraduate research in this institution has been a total failure so far for various reasons. We'll have to think back and see why it did not happen. And one of the things I find is that the institution or the whole system must have a systemic requirement of undergraduate research. If it is a charity by students or by faculty, or if it is something which you do it because your teacher asked, I think it's not going to go far. So I'm strongly of the opinion that when we start a center of excellence, it is also important to put a system in place, which is that of the institution. Obviously, you have a master program which follows a certain practice and so on. But for instance, if there is a program under this institute, under this center for the UGs, is UG research a mandatory requirement? And does it carry some weight in some sense? I think it has to be systemically looked at, not actually as what we did last time with the hope that people will sign up and here are some brilliant students and here are some brilliant faculty, they get together and produce brilliant research. It didn't happen. The words were brilliant, the intentions were brilliant, somewhere quickly the brilliance vanished. And so for that to happen, I think a very systemic approach to UG research is required. I strongly urge that any center of excellence for that matter should integrate this UG research as a part, because they have, as I said, most UG people do not know what their limitations are. That is good for research. By the time they have become masters and PhD students, they know their limitations. I do not know this branch of mathematics. Now I have to go back at home to bring my child at 3 o'clock. Many problems that we see. Now these problems are not there for the undergraduates. And therefore, as they do not see the limitations, they are the best to contribute. Kindly integrate them in the Center of Excellence in any place for that matter. This is not a part of the OE roadmap, but I thought I would specially mention it because in institutions like this, where 90% of your students are from undergrad, I think they should be a part of every endeavor that you do. And for doing this, it will not happen by charity and good words. It will not happen even by any kind of a punishment system. It happens if it is a part of a system. So it must be systemic, and kindly introduce a systematic approach to this undergraduate research. Thank you very much. I'm going to take some questions and all that at a later point of time to be shot down about what I said.
Can reach the pinnacle through the suitable and accepted participative efforts of our ever encouraging and dynamic management. It's my privilege